Stitchers, welcome back to the Stitching Corner with me, Miss Mel. Today I'm going to show you my whip progress. I have picked up another whip from my whip box that I have over there. Those of you who have been following me since the beginning of my channel, you will remember that I am currently working on a challenge where I've decided to challenge myself and then I pass a challenge on to anyone who'd like to join, is to get through the whip pile, because when I was getting ready to film my first video, I discovered I had about 14 whips. That's a bit excessive. Even for a serial starter, I would have to say 14 whips is a bit much. So what I've done is I've had a year of no new starts. Everything I've worked on has come from my whip box. And then I also have a finish. And then I'm also going to show you my oldest son's progress on his, and at the end of this video I'm going to tack on a little video clip of him cross-stitching. But to get started, I'm going to show you my finish first. I will be posting a video of this, of the finished video like I did for Heather. I'll be doing the same one for this. It is Mermaid of the Deep. I finished her, and I did for her as I did for Heather. I videoed myself doing the last 10 stitches, and then I took a quick video of what it looked like when I took it off the frame. She hasn't been washed yet, and she hasn't been ironed or stretched. What I'm using to hold her up right now is a piece of foam core. This is from my frame shop. It is acid-free foam core, so when I have her washed and ironed, I will make a video that's showing you how to pinch stretch your piece onto a piece of foam core, just like that. So there she is, and you can see, here, let me get a little closer so you guys can see her really well. There, I'll just scroll up. She is a total of 8,750 stitches. This was a Heaven and Earth Designs bulletin board stitch along. And I know in another video I said it was 2009. Actually, this one's from 2010. I checked my records like I said I was going to do, and she's actually from 2010. That year, for the bulletin board stitch along, what we did is what happened is the year got divided in half. So you had a group of story keeps or bookmarks to choose from for the first 6 months, and you worked on that. And then for the last 6 months, you had another group of story keeps to choose from. And I think that was also the same way, like if you posted so many progress pictures on the bulletin board, you got all the patterns. And then if you finished, you got entered into a drawing. And being that I just finished her, I didn't get any extra patterns or get entered into the drawing. Now for my whips. Here is Heaven and Earth. And you can see I've done a little bit more right up here. I found the edge of the third page and a little bit down here. Now about my larger whips, what's going to happen is I have come to the realization that they have to kind of go back on the back burner. That's be like my Q-snap and my larger split rail scroll frames, the one that's on the larger one. My larger ones are just going to have to go on the back burner for a while. And that is due to the fact that the current floor stand I have right now, one, it cannot hold Q-snaps. I put it in and they just go clink. It's very limp. And the larger split rail scroll frame I have, it can kind of hold it, but it struggles because of how wide it is. So I've kind of had to come to this decision that until I can modify the floor stand I have, or until I can afford, or until me and the hubby can sit down and figure out how to build a better floor stand for my larger whips, they kind of have to go on the back burner, because it's really hard for me to sit and work on these big frames without them being in a stand, because this is an 11 by 17 inch Q-snap. It does not fit in my floor stand, so when I'm trying to work on it, I'm literally like this. And it's very, very difficult. It's very uncomfortable. I have a hard time doing my two-handed stitching. I get a lot of wrist fatigue because I'm trying to hold it. I'm trying to find a way. I get a huge amount of neck and shoulder pain because slowly I start to hunch over the work, and it's just very painful. So until I can get that figured out, a lot of the whips you'll be seeing are going to be what I consider my smaller projects or my in-hand projects. And since I finished Mermaid of the Deep, I grabbed another one out of my whip box, and this time I just did a random grab. I was like, what am I going to work on? I'm going to grab this one. And it turned out to be another Heaven and Earth. Surprise, surprise. Another Heaven and Earth freebie this time. On the website of heavenandearthdesigns.com, they have a free chart section. And in that section, they have a bunch of charts listed, so you can try them out without having to buy a chart. I didn't do that the first time. I'm actually going to record a video about my love affair with Heaven and Earth and the chart that started it all. So what this one is, it is a freebie. I think Mrs. Milky Bar Kid has this in her stash, and I'm working on it now. It is, as you can see behind me, the project box is back there. It is the Storykeep Flower Bride by Linda, and I think I'm pronouncing her last name right, Sao. I don't know how to pronounce it. It's spelled T-S-O. Every time I see that, I think Trans-Siberian Orchestra, and I know that's not right. But it's the Storykeep of the Flower Bride. I'm going to insert a picture here to show you what it would look like when it's finished. Okay, that's what it's going to look like it was finished. Now I'm going to insert another picture of how many stitches were done on it when I picked it back up. And that is going to go right here. Okay, so that's what was done when I picked it back up. I have a note here that when I went into my whip box for whip status, it was only 235 stitches completed. This particular pattern will have, when all said and done, 34,010 stitches. That's right, 34,010, 34,010 stitches. That's a lot of stitches. That is more stitches than Heather was, but not as many stitches as Heaven and Earth BAPs are. And this is what I got completed last night. So there's that. These black lines, I don't know if they're showing up in camera. Let me see if I can get closer to show you what I'm talking about. Oh yeah, they're showing up. These black lines here, what this is it's a sewing thread. I believe it's a Coats, and it's called their transparent thread. Yes, I know it's dark. It's the transparent thread for the dark fabrics. And I've discovered it works great for gridding because you can't split it. It's fine enough to where you can use this all the way up to like a 32 count linen. It's not going to mess with the size of the holes. Slide back now. It's not going to mess with the size of the holes of your fabric, and you won't be able to split it with a needle. It's fine enough, and it's basically like a fishing line, but it's much, much, much finer. And I prefer to grid this way. I get nervous. I know other people have done it successfully. Stitching May is one of them. She grids with a fabric marker. I get nervous when I'm marking my fabric with anything like that, because I'm one of these people going, oh my god, what happens if I'm that 0.00 whatever percent to where it's not going to wash out and it's going to ruin, and then I've done a whole Heaven and Earth and the lines are not going to come out and now it's ruined. I know people have done it successfully. I just get nervous when I put any pencil markings like that on my fabric. I'm weird like that way. So that's my whips and my finish for the month of July. What was really interesting was how quickly I was able to get Mermaid of the Deep done when I picked it back up and just focused on it. And I think a lot of that, what helped me was being able to work with it on my floor stand, and the fact I was able to then do two-handed stitching. And I also discovered something. I have been kind of tracking my stitch counts and also tracking what was going on during those days that I've tracked my stitch counts. And I've noticed that on the days where I have low stitch counts, it was because, you know, I've noticed that, oh, the TV was on in the background. That's something I can control. When I'm talking about tracking what's going on, if I have a low stitch count and it's something like, kid had to go to the doctor, I can't control that. So that's not something I can change to up my stitch count. I can shut off the TV when I'm stitching, and I've discovered something that is, if I shut off the TV, so I'm not trying to also focus on the TV while I'm focusing on my stitching, and if I turn on music just to play in the background, I get higher stitch counts. I can sit for longer stitching at a time. The days where I did nothing but work on Mermaid of the Deep with music playing in the background, I got 8 hours of stitching accomplished for that day. And that's a lot of time. Granted, I work part-time, so I'm able to do that the days that I don't work. And my kids are at the age where they're pretty self-sufficient. I mean, I still have to get them lunch, I still have to get them snacks, but it's not like they're constantly going, mommy, 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 or constant need of my attention. I can check on them, and then 2 hours later come back and check on them again. Now when I say 8 hours stitching, it doesn't mean that I sat there for 8 hours on end and ignored everything else going on in my house. It means that I got 8 hours of stitching in. And when you're able to do that and just turn off distractions, your stitch counts are going to go up, up, up. So if you're trying to get your stitch counts up, track them, write down how many stitches you do for the day, and then write down what's going on around you, like was the TV on, and then stuff that you can control, like the TV and stuff like that. Try to eliminate that, and then count your stitch count the next day. And then you can find something that's going to work for you. Okay, enough about that. Now I'm going to show you quick is my son's project. He is working on a King Pig. Anyone who plays, I think it's called Angry Birds, who plays knows this character. This is what his is going to look like when he's done. Now remind you, my son just turned 10 in June. And this is his progress. Now I got to show you something. I'm jealous of my son. Yes, I said it. I'm jealous of my 10-year-old son. Look at those stitches. Look at those even stitches. I'm going to show you his back because I am proud of this. I've started teaching him right from the beginning to have a neat background. To have a neat back. Look at that. So there's my son's whip status. And I think that's going to wrap this video up. A video that is going to explain more of the terminology used in cross stitching. So if there's terms you guys don't understand, like SAL or BAP, BAP, comment down below with what you want explained more, and I will explain that in a video. And also I do have a Facebook page for Miss Mel Stitching Corner. I'm going to link it down below, and also if you just go onto Facebook and search for Miss Mel's Stitching Corner, Miss Mel, same way it's spelled here in YouTube, and then on the Facebook page is where I post a lot more whip photos. So like progress photos, like I take a photo of my project every day, I stitch on it at the end, and then I post them to that Facebook page. So like I said, I'll link it down below. I will link it right here that says Miss Mel's Stitching Corner on Facebook. And also, if you are on my main page here on YouTube, there should be somewhere up above in my banner thingy a button you can click to get to it. So hop on over there, follow, like, whatever you got to do. It's a community page, and yeah, follow and like. So I think that's all. Remember, happy stitches and keep those needles moving.
Less than $1 a day with a 6-month money-back guarantee. So this summer, go ahead, have fun. We've got your back.
There.
800 ADT 7097 and get the peace of mind that comes with ADT.
Yep, check your pattern.
What matters most? Call
And I go out one, down and out.
and get ADT security as low
It's a twist pen. Do you want a different pen?
The twist pen.
You gotta twist down. It doesn't go click click. Here.
There.
Did you get it?
Mhm.
Okay.
Why has this?
That's like a stylus for if you had a iPhone or an iPad. You know, something that you touch with your finger and you make it work.
Mhm. There, I gotta go down one.
Okay.
Then go in one. 2. I gotta do 5 again. But I gotta do 4. Now I got to do 4. Yep. Yep.
Small.